Start. Om Vedarshayassamarabhya Vedantacharya Madhyamaha Yogi Ram Surat Kumara Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ratnagara Dhautapatam Himalaya Kiritinim Brahmarajarshi Ratnadyam Vande Bharata Mataram. The last class we had discussed about the Upanishadic theory of evolution. The Upanishads emphatically declare that the manifestation, both macrocosmic and microcosmic. Macrocosmic means the entire universe, all that we see around, Vishwa. And microcosmic is the self, manifestation of myself. These two emerge from that ultimate reality which we call as consciousness. Usually they symbolize it with the Pranavanada, the Omkara. This Omkara is always considered to be the symbol of that ultimate reality. There is a reason. Today modern science has accepted that consciousness manifests into sound vibrations, then electromagnetic energy arises, and out of electromagnetic energy, proton, neutron, electron, and all atoms, and out of atoms, all the objects that we see, they are arising. Last time I told you that this theory was known to our ancient seers, the sages, rishis, long back. They very profoundly explained it in the Upanishads. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Isavasya Upanishad, all these Upanishads, they very beautifully proclaim the emergence of this consciousness into the manifest world as well as the individual entity. Now, from this, two emergence. One is macrocosmic. Macrocosmic is the universe. The other one, microcosmic. Microcosmic is the individual self. The different stages are explained by the Upanishad. The cosmic consciousness, Pranava, or the Brahman, it manifests as Ishvara. Ishvara means God or that ultimate reality. This Ishvara, it evolves or manifests further as Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means the cosmic egg. Ishvara is that nameless, formless Brahman taking to a form Ishvara, and then from there Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic egg, and out of that arises the whole universe, Vishwa. These are the three important stages in the manifestation of this macrocosmic world. Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, and Vaishwanara. Now, in the individual also, when the cosmic self manifests in the individual, first it manifests as our prajna. Prajna means individual consciousness. Prajna. And this prajna, it emerges as the light, our vision through our senses and our organs. Prajna Taijasa. This is the second stage. And the manifest experience of the manifest world, which is Vishwa. In the macrocosmic level, it is called Vaishwanara. Out of the cosmic egg, the entire manifest world, it is called Vaishwanara. Here, in the individual consciousness, first it manifests as Prajna and Taijasa and Vishwa. There are 5 sheets, important sheets, in this manifestation according to the Upanishad. This consciousness Annamaya Kosham, Pranamaya Kosham, Manomaya Kosham, Buddhimaya Kosham. These are the different sheets through which the manifestation takes place. Anna means the food. It is very essential for the manifestation. Prana is the vital air. This Annamaya Kosham and Pranamaya Kosham, that constitutes the physical sthula sharira that we have. Out of this sthula sharira, in this sthula sharira, we have the emergence of Manomaya Kosham and Buddhimaya Kosham. Manomaya Kosham means thought vibrations arise. When these thought vibrations are arranged, disciplined, controlled, classified and organized, it becomes Buddhi. The individual thought vibrations are organized into Buddhi. So, Manomaya Kosham and Buddhimaya Kosham is the second stage in the development. Annamaya Kosham, Pranamaya Kosham first, Manomaya Kosham, Buddhimaya Kosham. And then comes this manifest world that I experience through my senses. So, Upanishads very clearly explain these different stages of manifestation of the self. This Annamaya Kosham, Pranamaya Kosham, actually it is Annamaya Kosha is the most external sheath. This external sheath is Annamaya Kosha, and within the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, is the Pranamaya Kosha. Annamayam, Pranamayam. This is the external body, Sthula Sharira. Within this Sthula Sharira is the Sukshma Sharira, that is constituted by Manomayam and Pranamayam. Annamayam, Pranamayam, Manomayam. Sukshma Sharira is constituted of Pranamaya and Manomaya. External physical body is constituted by the food sheath, Prana and Mana. Prana and Mana, they constitute the external macrocosmic body, and Vijnanamaya and Manomaya. Vijnanamaya is intellectual street and Manomaya street is thought sheath. This thought sheath and intellectual sheath, they constitute my Sukshma Sharira. Stula Sharira is the physical body. Sukshma Sharira is the internal body constituted of mind, intellect, equipment, the thought forces. And within it, there is a prajna consciousness which I enjoy when I am in deep sleep state, susupti state. Sthula Sharira I experience when I am in the waking state, that is Jakruti. Sukshma Sharira, when I am in the Swapna state, that is dream state, when I am sleeping, when I am asleep, I have the experience of the Sukshma Sharira. And this Karana Sharira, the consciousness per se, which manifests into the cosmic egg, that is Karana Sharira. Stula, Sukshma, Karana. These are the three Shariras that every individual he takes to. This Stula Sharira is constituted of Annamaya Kosham and Pranamaya Kosham. Sukshma Sharira is constituted of Manomaya Kosham and Buddhimaya Kosham. And the Karana Sharira is constituted of the inner prajna self. This is in the microcosmic level. In the macrocosmic level, it manifests as Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, and Vaishwanara. So this explanation is given by our Upanishads. In the Western philosophy also, cosmic and a cosmic view of manifestation is discussed. The Western philosophy says that the entire manifest world, God created the entire manifest world. He is the creator. But here in Indian Upanishads, our idea is that it is manifestation. God is not creating. The consciousness which turns into God, He manifests. He Himself manifests. A flower blossoms like that. From the bud, the blossoming of the flower, the bud is not different from the flower, and the flower is not different from the bud. Similarly, Ishvara is not different from this entire manifest world, and entire manifest world, it is emerging from the God, sustained by the God or consciousness, and ultimately it merges into that cosmic Brahman. The Upanishad very emphatically describes Yato va imani bhutani jayante, that from which everything arises. Yena jatani jivanti, that by which everything is sustained. Yat prayanti abhisamvishanti, entering into which ultimately everything merges. So, the soul's manifestation and its ultimate dissolution all are in the consciousness according to our Indian philosophy, whereas in Western philosophy they have got a cosmic view, God creating the whole universe, that is different. Now, this view of these Upanishads, manifestation of the cosmic and acosmic, the Sharira, Sukshma, Karana Sharira, Stula Sharira, and Sukshma Sharira and Stula Sharira in the physical level. In the cosmic level, it is Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, and Vaishwanara. Now, our Upanishads, they speak about bondage. why I am in this physical body. If the self is free, all pervasive, all embracing everywhere, why I am confined to this physical body? The Upanishad speaks about bondage and samsara. Though I am the Supreme Self, because of my ignorance of my own nature, my own self, I identify myself with my body, mind, and intellect. When I have got a pain in the physical body, I say, I am suffering from pain. Actually, I am not suffering from pain. It is the body that is suffering. But because of my wrong identity, I identify myself with the physical body. Similarly, when I got some emotion, happiness or sorrow, I say, I am happy, or I am sorrowful, I am pained. These experiences, these feelings, I identify myself to that consciousness because of my ignorance. So, identification with the body, identification with the mind intellect equipment, and identification with the Karana Sharira, that is the cause for the bondage that we suffer in this world. Upanishad says, the moment I realize that I am not all these body, mind, intellect, equipment, I am free from them, then I realize my identity with my own self, this world vanishes. There is no world for a self-realized person. He is a free bird. He is not bound by anything in this world. And that state is called moksha or mukti, liberation. Getting rid of all these ignorance. Ignorance is suffering. Once I get rid of that ignorance that I am body, mind, intellect, that is liberation. We do not believe in the Semitic concept of the individual soul being raised up after the death. It is buried, and on the doomsday, God in the heaven summons, and those who have done good deeds, they are sent to the heaven. Those who have done bad deeds, they are sent to the hell. These are all Semitic concepts. We do not believe in such concept. There is no heaven or hell. As long as we are in ignorance, we suffer the hell. Once we realize the truth that I am not bound by all this body, mind, intellect, equipment, and I am freed from this bondage, that is liberation or moksha. Our Upanishad speaks that why I am bound to this world, to this body, mind, intellect. It says karma, my actions. When I perform actions with selfish interest, it binds me to the world. And because of that, I have bondage. Once I depart from the physical body, the self, it is bound by the karma. 3 types of karmas are mentioned: prarabdha karma, sanjita karma, and agamya karma. Prarabdha karma is the karma that I am already suffering, I am experiencing in this world. That is prarabdha karma. Sanjita is the accumulation already which is accumulated, which is yet to be exhausted. Prarabdha is I have started exhausting. Sanjita is that which is in store. And agamya is that I will be accruing through my actions, further actions I will be acquiring. So these karmas, they bind me to this world that is called bondage. And moksha is liberation, getting rid of this karma. Mokshayate sansara. I pass through these worldly experiences. The ultimate goal is attaining that, exhausting all these karmas and attaining that ultimate reality. That is the message of the Upanishads. Very emphatically they have declared. So the theory of bondage, the theory of liberation, these are all there. This bondage is not real bondage, it is only an apparent, and that apparent bondage, it vanishes the moment I get realization. Now, we have to look a little detail in this Upanishadic view, the cosmic. Dr. Radhakrishnan has given a very beautiful simile or allegory in which he explains this. Dr. Radhakrishnan says, Devadatta, after good sleep, continues to be Devadatta since his experiences unite themselves to the system which existed all the time he went to sleep. They link themselves to his thoughts and do not fly to any others. This continuity of experience requires us to admit a permanent self underlying all contents of consciousness. Now, Dr. Radhakrishnan points out that it is the same me who am passing through different experiences. The proof for it is that when I go to sleep, I am the same Devadatta. When I wake up, I am the same Devadatta. There is no change. But it is the self which is within me, which is passing through the different stages of experience. So it shows the permanence of that consciousness. And this experience, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, Taijasa and Hiranya, dreaming, deep sleep, waking, dreaming, deep sleep. These three experiences, in this case of Jivatma, it is Vaishwanara, Taijasa and Prajna. In the cosmic realm, it is Virat, Hiranyagarbha and Ishvara that we have already seen. And once we get rid of this ignorance, it is liberation. In Vedanta, there are three main schools we have already seen. There is Shankara, Ramanuja and Madhva. Madhva's school is Dvaita philosophy. I had already explained that Madhva didn't allow one to arrogate himself that he is the supreme being, God or anything. God is the master and I am only a servant. So the separateness of God and man is stressed by Madhva's duality. In the case of Ramanuja, Vishishtadvaita, he says that the ultimate reality is God, but I am part and parcel of it. So, unity in difference. That is the ideal of Ramanuja. And Shankara, he speaks about Advaita. He says that this world, self, all these, they are all appearance. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam. The world is only a reflection that you see in a mirror. When you see a reflection in a mirror, that reflection has no reality. What is outside, it appears there in the mirror. Similarly, the whole world is an appearance which is taking place within me. I see the world and the world is within me. Ramakrishna very beautifully presents these three concepts. He says, consciousness of the body, when there is a consciousness of the body, I am individual and God is there. Two are different. When I am conscious of the soul which is within me, then I realize that God is the whole and I am the part. And when I am conscious of my true self, the prajna consciousness, God and soul become one. In Christianity, Jesus Christ had accepted. You know, Jesus Christ, as I already explained, he had come to India, he had studied Vedanta. In Bible, he very emphatically presents these three viewpoints. When he says, Father in the heaven, that is, Father is there and heaven is there. The duality is there. He speaks about Father in the heaven. When he says, I am the vine and ye are the branches, God is the main tree and all that we see around, all individuals, etc., they are all branches. That is the Vishishtadvaita philosophy. And in the Bible, when Jesus says, I and my Father are one, this statement also comes in the Bible. So that is the Vedantic viewpoint. Buddha says, silence is his name. When you realize that self which is within, everything becomes silent. All external things vanishes. So, these three concepts are very beautifully presented in our Upanishads. Taittiriya Upanishads declares, Yato va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat prayanti abhisambhishanti di. Everything emerges from that ultimate reality and they are sustained by it. It is the consciousness which produces and it is the consciousness which sustains, and ultimately it goes back into that consciousness. From the waking state, I go to the dream state, and from the dream state, I go into the deep sleep state. When I go into the deep sleep state, everything vanishes. So similarly, this world, it merges into its cosmic consciousness and ultimately becomes one with the supreme being. This is the Upanishadic view of emergence of the universe. In the Shanivarga Vidya and Shodasakala Vidya, they discuss about the cosmic phenomena of emergence of Vayu, Prana, etc. The Chandogya Upanishad, there is the story of Uddhalaka and 5 householders. They go to King Ashwapati, who says, heaven, etc., are parts of the cosmic self, Vaiswanara. Atman, that self should not be thought of as many, and that is the ideal with oneself. Most important episode in Chandogya is Uddalaka teaching Shvetaketu, Sata, that ultimate reality, may become many. It wants, the ultimate reality wants itself to manifest, and therefore the creation starts. Upanishadic cosmism, it is different from the Western concept of pantheism. There are two types of pantheism. One is all is God. Second, God is all. Nature is God, pancosmism. God is all is a cosmism. Here, former materialistic tinge is there. Nature is God. Later, it is religious belief or philosophical view that God is all. The Upanishadic cosmism is religious pantheism. The Upanishadic acosmism is philosophical pantheism. So we have got the Saprapanja and Nishprapanja theories. Saprapanja means manifest world, Nishprapanja means manifestation less. Deussen, the Western philosopher, he remarks about this. God creates the universe by transforming himself into the universe. He says, Deussen says, it is God who transforms himself into the universe. The latter confessedly has become God. Since it is real and also infinite, there is no room for God independently of the universe, but only within it. The terms of God and universe become synonymous, and the idea of God is only remained in order not to break with the tradition. In the Encyclopedia of Religion and Culture, he says, when God manifests the universe, he is identical with this universe. That is the Western pantheism. But in Indian philosophy, no phase of the Upanishad is ever pantheistic in this sense. Upanishad seeks to show that Brahman, by his transformation into the universe, has forfeited nothing of the perfection. By Ishvara becoming the manifest world, there is no transformation, physical transformation of the Ishvara. It is only an appearance as manifest. If I put on the robe of a villain or a hero in a drama, I am not becoming a villain or I am not becoming a hero, but I am only appearing. It is only an appearance. I am not changing into a villain or a hero, but I am appearing. So it is all an appearance. All beings are only the manifestation of that Supreme Self. This theory is very beautifully presented in the Upanishad. Saprapanja and Nishprapanja. Saprapanja means with this manifest form. Nishprapanja means which is free from all these external manifestations. God becomes Saprapanja, but he is also Nishprapanja. Principal idea, the dialogue between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, Brahman and Atman, reality behind these changing phases, it is very beautifully discussed in the Upanishad. The Upanishads, Mandukya Upanishad, very emphatically describes Nanta prajnam na bahish prajnam nobhayada prajnam na prajnana ghanam na prajnam na prajnam adushtram avyavahajam agrahyam alakshanam acintyam avyapadeshyam egatma pratyasaram prapanchopasamam shantam shivam advaitam Chadurtam manyante sa atma savigneya. Nanta prajna. Anta prajna means internal consciousness. Na bahish prajna, the external cosmic view. That Supreme Self, na anta prajna, the inner consciousness, na bahishprajna, the external consciousness, nanta-prajna, na bahishprajna, no abhayata, both combined. It is not both of them together. No abhayata prajna. Then, very confusing statement Upanishad makes, na prajna, na aprajna. It is neither consciousness nor non-consciousness. It is a little confusing. It is neither consciousness nor non-consciousness. Na prajna, na prajnam, no bheda prajna, na prajnana ghanam. That is consciousness per se. It is not consciousness per se. Na prajna, na prajna. Then what exactly is that self? It is confusing. The statement about that ultimate reality or self in the Upanishad, it is Mandukya Upanishad. It gives a positive explanation to enable us to understand Adrishtam avyavaharyam. Adrishtam means unseen, you cannot perceive it. Avyavaharyam means you can't deal with it. Agrahyam. Agrahyam means you cannot grasp with your intellect. Agrahyam, alakshanam. Why you cannot grasp it? Alakshanam. Because it has no marks. You can understand a thing when you notice the marks, external marks. So, it has no lakshanas. Agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam. Achintyam means you cannot think about it even. Avyapadeshyam, you cannot speak about it. Achintyam, avyapadeshyam, ekatma pratyasaram. Now it gives a positive explanation. Ekatma pratyasaram. That one ultimate consciousness or reality. Prapanchopashamam. And the whole universe, it emerges from it, sustained by it, and it goes back into that Prapanchopashamam. It ends up there. And what is that state? Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, Manyante, Sa Atma, Sa Vigneha. It is Shantam, absolute peace. Once you go to that self-realization, all thoughts vanish, all experiences vanish. You always are in a blissful samadhi state. Samadhi, absolute peace. Shantam, Shivam. Shivam is realization of that consciousness. Advaitam, and there is nothing other than that. Advaitam manyante, sa atma, sa vigneha. So this is the explanation that the Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad gives about that ultimate reality. This Upanishadic view, it is discussed by Westerners also. In A. E. Garvey, in the Encyclopedia of Religion and Ethics, he says, this Indian pantheism was a movement of religious thought away from the popular polytheism. And yet here, as elsewhere, pantheism was ever ready to compromise with the polytheism. Brahman becomes the sole reality, and yet a place is found for the multitude of gods as manifestations of Brahman. Now, we have seen that in our Indian philosophy, we have got so many gods: Indra, Mitra, Varuna, Vayu, and when we come to the Puranic period, we have got Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, and so many other gods, etc. All of them are accommodated because all of them are not different from that Supreme Self. So, in Indian pantheism, it allows differences, so many concepts, but at the same time, it also points out the universality and unity of all these gods and manifestations. So, this is the beauty of cosmism and acosmism, which is discussed in this Upanishad. Now we will come again how to get rid of this bondage or misconception of the reality of the existence of God, existence of consciousness manifesting into this multifarious universe or world. We saw that it is karma, our actions. The more we are attached to the world of objects and perform our duties, we are bound by this concept of bondage. I am in this world, I am performing my acts, I have got my attachments, I have got my hatred, I have got my pleasures. All these, they create a bondage. I am bound to this world of objects. Body, mind, and intellect equipment, it binds me to the world of objects. The moment I depart from this world, my physical body goes back into the elements, ether, air, fire, water, earth. These are the 5 elements that constitute my physical body. They dissolve into those elements. But all those experiences which I acquired in my body, mind, and intellect, what happens to them? Like the physical body, they do not vanish. They create that Karana Sharira. The Sukshma Sharira I have cast away, it has merged into the elements. But the Karana Sharira is there. It is said that after the departure from the physical body, the self, it enters into another body, transmigration of the soul, we say. Because all these vasanas that are acquired in the body, mind, and intellect, they are to be exhausted. Until and unless they are exhausted, I will not get liberation. So, there is transmigration of the self. We call the theory of rebirth. A dead person, the dead soul, again taking to a new body, that we call rebirth. When the rebirth takes place, all the experiences in the previous life, Purva Janma Vasana, we say, they all come back, they are all there in the new body. And I start exhausting all those vasanas. Now ample proof is given by modern science about the Purva Janma Vasana. There is the Department of Parapsychological Research in the Western universities. They have done intense research work. A 3-year-old boy, Mandolin Srinivas, at the age of 3 or 4, he started playing the mandolin instrument. Where from he got that experience of playing the instrument? He is just a small baby. But the moment he takes that mandolin and he starts playing, all that urge in him, all that vasanas in him, they manifest through his music. So they say Purva Janma Vasana. In Kerala, a 3-year-old girl, she took up the brush and paint from her father and she started drawing beautiful portraits on the canvas. By the age of 11, it is said that 400 pictures she had drawn. Now all these, they are all recorded in the Guinness Book of Records. It speaks about little children performing marvelous, wonderful things. How they manifest? They have already acquired those vasanas They have been preserved in their inner self and it manifests. So, this theory of karma, it very beautifully points out that all these vasanas are stored, and in order to exhaust these vasanas, I take birth. In this birth also, I continue my activities, I got attachments, I got aversions, all these vasanas again accumulate. So once again, when I depart from this world, these vasanas come with me and a third birth, rebirth. That's why Adi Shankaracharya says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jadhare sayanam, iha samsare bahudustare kripaya pare pahi murare. Birth, death. This cycle of birth and death, endlessly it continues because of these vasanas. So he prays to the Lord, please free me from this bondage of cycle of birth and death, from the bondage of these vasanas. So once these vasanas are exhausted, Swami Chinmayananda very always in his lectures he says, exhaust the existing vasanas and see that no new vasanas are accrued. I have to act in this world of objects because I am born. I have to act, I have to serve, I have to do all activities. But as long as I am in this world, if I have got the right understanding, perception of the life, I will not have any new desires. That is karma yoga, desireless action, motiveless action. When I perform this motiveless action, no vasana accrues. I have no desire, nothing at all. So, exhausting the existing vasanas and seeing that no new vasanas are acquired in me, that is the Upanishadic way. It speaks about Nishkama Karma. Ishavasya Upanishad very emphatically says, Ishavasya sarvam jagat kinja jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjida. As long as you are in this world, you enjoy the world, keep that spirit of renunciation. Don't get attached. I have got all these works that I am performing, but I am not attached to these works. If I succeed, well and good. If I don't succeed, I don't bother about it. It is all divine will. So if I reserve everything, if I give up everything as the ultimate will of God, and my karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kathajana, Bhagavad Gita very emphatically says, karmanye vadhikaraste, only act. Ma phaleshu kathajana, whether it is success or failure, that is none of your concern. You have to only act. So when I perform such an action, it is nishkama karma. Naiskarmyam and nishkama karma, they are two different concepts. Naiskarmyam means doing nothing, simply sitting, idling my time. But I will not get, when I sit idle, it is not possible for the mind for even 1 minute to sit idle. It will be wandering here and there. So I must constantly engage myself in action. But that action must be nishkama karma. Without attachment, I must perform the action. That is nishkama karma. So once I perform such a nishkama karma, I get liberation. This philosophy is very beautifully explained in the Upanishads. Sarvopanishado gavo dhogda gopal nandana partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdam gita amritam mahat. Bhagavad Gita, which is a part of Mahabharata, it contains the entire essence of this Upanishadic philosophy. Bhagavad Gita very emphatically says, Karmane vihita samsiddhim astita janakadaya. The great souls like Janaka, they all achieved perfection only through action. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jadu tishtatya karmakrit. Not even a moment you can sit idle. Karyate hyavasa karma sarva prakrutijaya gunaihi. Everybody has to act on, act on, act on. We are impelled by nature to act on. But what action I must do, that is without any desire, without any motive, I have to perform. By performance of such action, I get liberation. So the Upanishads speak about the emergence of the self from that ultimate reality, the sustenance of that self, and the experience of the self in the waking, dream, deep sleep states, and the manifestation of the cosmic world from out of that self. And then it also speaks about my withdrawal, the way to get rid of these experiences and going back to the source, back to the original nature of myself. That is moksha, and that theory is very beautifully explained by the Upanishads in the theory of karma and reincarnation and the realization of that ultimate reality. The great sages, seers who expounded Upanishads, they have all pointed out that these expositions, they are not for our intellectual discussion or digestion. In my younger days, I had the opportunity to sit at the feet of Swami Chinmayananda. I used to attend his Gita, Jnana Gijna, Bhagavad Gita classes. Then he used to conduct classes on Ishavasya Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, all these Chandogya Upanishads, Kathopanishad classes, very beautiful classes he used to conduct. I used to attend all those classes. And when I grew up, I had the urge to learn Indian philosophy. I took my post-graduation in Indian philosophy. While studying the Mandukya Karika, 25 years I had already spent in reading the Upanishads and studying them. While studying the Mandukya Karika, in one place, there was a concept of Bhuyo Darsana. I had a doubt. So I approached Swami Chinmayananda. He asked me, what is the matter? Why have you come here? Then I said, Swamiji, I got a doubt. What doubt you have got? You see, in the Mandukya Karika, Gaudapada speaks about Bhuyo Darsana. I want to get clarification on that. Swamiji became very fierce. He took that book from my hand. He flung it aside. He said, throw away all your Upanishad books into the ditch. Go and sit and meditate and do sadhana. 20 years you have already spent reading Upanishads and Vedas and all these things. But still you are intellectually probing into all these things. Nonsense. Stop all this nonsense. Do sadhana. So why I am telling this? Ultimately, all the Upanishad seers said that this intellectual probing into God, world, soul and all this philosophy, it must come to an end at one place, and we have to withdraw ourselves, go within and start contemplation, meditation, sadhana, and by that process totally get rid of the world of objects, totally get rid of the objects in our mind, the objects in our intellect, all these attachments in the mind and intellect, they also must be transcended. And then when we go within, we find that ultimate bliss, such chit ananda. Sata means that which exists, the consciousness alone. Chita means that is consciousness. Ananda, it is bliss. So realize that bliss, and that is God realization, that is moksha. So this samsara, this worldly existence, mokshayate samsaraha. It is for that ultimate realization of that consciousness. So this is in brief the Upanishadic philosophy. This philosophy, I have tried to explain it in so many words, but still, how these thoughts can be applied to my day-to-day life, how can I translate all this knowledge and wisdom of the Upanishads into my ordinary mundane existence? Where is the guidance? All the guidance we get from the epics and the Puranas. Epics, as I have already pointed out, are historical narratives. Rama lived in this land, Krishna lived in this land, they were actual persons who lived in this Bharatavarsha, and their history is presented in the epics. Puranas are imaginary stories. Vatsya Purana, Garuda Purana, all these Puranas, they are all imaginary stories or ballads. These are storehouses of guidance for me in my day-to-day life. Rama was Maryada Purushottama. His life, it teaches me how to live, how to exist in this world. The teachings of Krishna, they teach me how to live in this world. So, Puranas and Itihasas and Upanishads, they also, through examples, they give me guidance for translating all this Upanishadic wisdom into my day-to-day life. So, in the coming classes, we will go into the epics and the Puranas, how these Upanishadic ideas of cosmic and acosmic, ultimate reality, the manifestation of the world, soul, God, etc., all these teachings and all this wisdom, they can be translated into day-to-day life, by which I can withdraw myself from all these world of objects and go within and realize, contemplate, meditate and realize myself. Practical advice, guidance, pathway is shown in the Upanishads and the Puranas, and we will just go into them, the Upanishads and Puranas, in the next class. Jai Sri Ram.